Could be with Penny. Anyway, so okay, we're learning Ilu Nishmas, Bela, Sarah, Bas, Moshe, Kenny's mother, and the Shamashav and Aliyah. Okay, in the middle of a sugya, I'm going to finish the parak, and for Art Scroll, you're going to end. Hope you've worked your third chelik, your third value.
I found another one here.
Okay, good. Anyway, so we saw yesterday a three-way machlokes, but actually it was a two-way machlokes with a third wondering what's the story. We said a person's maver mimakim lamak, going from place to place, his maver, and it breaks. He breaks, like he's carrying his porter and he's transporting barrels and they break. Said Reb Meir, whether he's a shoym achinam or a shoym esacha, you're going to swear and get off the hook. Says Rabbi Yehuda in the Brisa, a shoym achinam swears, a shoym esacha pays. Said Rebbe Eliezer, I know, like I read the Messiah from Reb Meir, but I don't understand why. I don't understand why. Okay, what was the hesber? Nisko lav pasheya. If you trip, you're not lav pasheya. You're not considered a pasheya. So what are you considered? Said Reb Meir, to the extent of afilu an einus, you'd be pater on, and therefore, since you're an einus, even the shem esacha would be pater. Says Rabbi Eliezer, says Rabbi Yehuda, I understand why Hashem Achinam is pata, it's not a pshia. But the extent that Niskalaf Peshe doesn't extend to the of Einsin, it's limited to Gnei Vaved, and Hashem Esach is Chai, but Gnei Vaved, therefore you're going to pay. Said Rabbi Eliezer, I don't understand any of them. I don't understand why Hashem Esach should get off the hook. After all, he's being paid for something. I don't even understand why Hashem Achinam could even say it's not Pesheya. It depends upon the land. Bishlemi was going up. Then I can understand. But if it was flat, why say Niskalap Pesheya was on flat ground? And we left off over there. But there's one more Nakuda. That Isi ben Yehuda says a Chiddush. Isi ben Yehuda is Machadesh, fellas, that the din of Shvua getting off the hook is in a place where no one else could have possibly seen what happened, right? The pasuk says, "Shua Hashem tia ben shneihem im lo sholach mesreo." That's not the pasuk. Kitin shoreo chamor isha esev v'chol behema lishmar umeis ay nishba ein roya. Then Shua Hashem tia ben shneihem. When ein roya, then Shua Hashem. But if roya, if there's someone that sees. So maybe someone saw. So said Rebbe Eliezer, I don't even know why Hashem Achinam swears. That's where we're up to. Okay, so we're up to Pei Gimel Amid Aleph, right? And we're going back now to answer the kasha we began the yesterday's Amid Beis with. Reb Meir holds that Hashem Achinam swears and Hashem Esacha swears because Niskal Lav Pesheya. Remembering our Bar Bakama days, he said what? Yechayev if you trip in it, right? Yechayev. And we said Niskol Paisheya. Said Rebbe Eliezer, Tavra, Misha Shanazu, Lo Shanazu. Right? Now we're coming to answer that, okay? We're going to say that it's possible that it works out according to Rebbe Eliezer, say our Mishnah and say the Mishnah in Baba Kama. Our Mishnah and the Mishnah what in Baba Kama. Yeah. You have to get the bit. Okay, so in this deep question we have in Baba Kama, it's Mashba Niskal Poisheya, and over here in Baba Metzia, Niskal Lav Poisheya. So Reb Chia, 5 lines down, Reb Chia Bar Abba, he's coming to answer that question, guys. Reb Chia, as Rashi tells us, is going back on that question that we had, right? Let's see Rashi, guys. 3 lines down. Reb Chia Bar Abba, V'lega Sinun Ella. In other words, Ella is not going back on the previous Gemara. Ella would mean you're having charata, we're not having charata. Umilsa be'ape nafshi mitaretz. And he's coming to go ahead, it's a milsa, it's a separate thing. Mitaretz had ramin and la'el. He's answering the steer that we had before. The Reb Meir, beniskal. Vomer v'laza, tavra misha shanazu l'shanazu. Reb Chia bar Abba poligad Reb Eliezer. He argues on Reb Eliezer, who said they're conflicting. V'yam ala oilam chad tanahu. V'niskal vaday pesheyahu. Niskal is a pesheya. So why do we have to answer, guys? If Niskal is pesheya, do we have to answer Baba Kama, Baba Metzia? Baba Metzia. Baba Kama, we understand why. What's the reason, guy, you put to the shua? So again, if Niskal is pesheya, why does Reb Meir hold? You can make a shua. Yeah, Paisheya. Even a Shem Echinam shouldn't get off the hook, right? And you're telling me he's off the hook? If this guy's like Paisheya, like it says in Baba Kama, why in the world over here are you letting him swear? So that's what's come to answer. This shvu is a takonis chachamim. Shemi'at oimakain. If you say that what that yichayev ein lecha adam that who can't swear ein lecha adam hamaveh chavis lechaver mimakam lemakam. Good. Now here's the question: if this goes Paisheya, what are you swearing? So here's the teretz, guys. Really, he should be chayev. Really, you should be chayiv because this is called paisheya. Good, but we're going to swear now. The chacham made a takana. You'll never ever get a porter to transport anything. His mom is set up for right. He trips. He's considered paisheya. He's not even getting paid. The shemachinam. So you're not going to get anyone to do the job. So why in the world would he do it? And what's the answer? The answer is because he can get off the hook. How can he get it off the hook? Because the chacham they're attacking the shvua. Now the question is, but what are you swearing? What are you swearing? So that's Heichi Mishtaba. What exactly are you swearing? So Amar Rava says Rava, Shvua Shaloi B'Kavana Shavrasi. I didn't break it on purpose. I'm swearing, whatever I did not break it on purpose. I did not break it on purpose. V'yasel Rabbi Yehuda l'meimar, Shoy Mechinam Yishava, V'ysasachi Yishalim. This called Paisheya. Shemechinam will let swear, but Shemesacha we won't let swear. Hai Kedina, each one go according to what? Their din. Each one go according to what? To their din. The also Rebbe Lazar Lemeimar, in Gemara Kreb Meir, we have Masar like Meir, to me, Ani, in Michael Mizel Shava. So I'm wondering, how could they swear? Because they nachinami. If this go Paisheya, why are you swearing? So the Konis Chum does its job. Now, Bishlem Hashem Mechinim Mishtaba, Shlei Pashaba. Now, this is Rebbe Lezer talking. Bishlem, in other words, I'm wondering. So Bishlem Hashem Mechinim, I can understand that why he can swear I wasn't Paisheya. El Hashem Esacha, am I Mishtaba? Why is he swearing? Kiloi Pashanami Boy Shlume. Even if he wants Paisheya, he has to swear. Because again, if he holds his karf l'ganev aveda, he doesn't hold like it's a noinus. But I feel Hashem Mechinim Nami, and even Hashem Mechinim that you're going to allow swear. Hatenach was yesterday's Gemara. Hatenach b'makam madjoin. It's a place where it's susceptible to it's slippery. It's a slope. Shlei b'makam madjoin. But if it's straight plain, mi matzi Mishtaba Shlei Pashan, maybe he was Paisheya. But I feel b'makam madjoin Nami. Hatenach. You don't have right. You don't even to see. But but it's possible someone saw it. Nesi raya, bring a raya v'yifta, and then we won't let you swear. Bring a raya, and we won't let you swear. The Tanya, Isi ben Yehuda Omer, Isi ben Yehuda says, "Ein raya." When ein raya, then shuas Hashem tiyeh b'shnayim. Hayesh raya, but if there's a raya, yavi raya, then go ahead, bring a raya v'yifta and be potter. So that's two ways to go ahead and answer the stira in Reb Meir, right? Yesterday's stira. Our Mishnah niskal lav paisheya, Baba Kama niskal paisheya. Rebbe Loza tavra misha shanazu leishanazu. You can't make them match up. Or Rechia baraba einachem niskal paisheya. Therefore Baba Kama chayiv. Why you potter here? You're not taka potter. Why really you should have to pay. But again, to go ahead and facilitate having porters to schlep things and movers to schlep things, it's a shvur that what they let you swear that you didn't go ahead and break it on purpose. Pashe is negligent. Negligence. That's the only time a shemachinam is chayiv is for pashia. Negligence. Ahu gavra. There was this individual. He was going ahead and he was schlepping wine. In the risticha. The Ristika, I forgot what it was. What is it? What? A road. The Tavra beziza the mechus, and it broke in the ziz. The ziz is like, like the Mexican haciendas, they have the protruding out the beams from the building. So it's ziz coming out, and it broke. He was schlepping it, and it broke. Because Astel kamei the Rava Amalei, Ristika the mechusa shchichi ba'inshi. The Rista Mechuza, and it's a big place, and people may have seen you. Zeal, I see raya. Go bring a raya that it broke on there, that you weren't Paisheya. The iftim l'shalim. We won't let you swear. Yeah, it must be that someone saw you there, and we won't let you swear. Amalei Yosef Berei says Rabbi Yosef Berei to Rava Kiman who right Kiisi ben Yehuda. So Amalei in Kiisi. We hold the Isi sphere like Havase. We hold like Isi. We hold like Isi. And not only the chiddush over here, guys, is we hold like Isi even when it's not a case of Shomrim. Where's the case of what's the case of Shomrim? Shvuas Hashem Tiyeh Ben Shneim. In Ein Roya, this is the parsha of Shem Chinam. If there's no one who saw, then Shvuas Hashem Tiyeh Ben Shneim. And the Gemara, the Riffa says the Gemara now is telling the fact that Hilchas Kavase, afilu if it's not speaking b'Shomrim, we're speaking about a worker, a poil. Yeah, May, what's your question?
Well, it's a peshaya. I mean, if you only swear if there's no witnesses, right? If there are witnesses, you don't swear.
Again, this chiddush of EC is okay. Just so swear. So you don't have to. Here, this is going. If you this is not going liska peshaya. This is not. Niska peshaya is only Yisrael Reb Meir, like Reb Meir. So he says I wasn't peshaya. It broke on the thing. I wasn't peshaya. So he was going to swear to the fact that it wasn't peshaya and get off the hook. Said Rava, we won't let you swear. We won't let you swear because since there's other people who could possibly see, Isi ben Yehuda, you bring raya from people, not a shua. That's all we're saying. Okay, the Gemara continues and brings in another case. Who gavra the Amalei lechavre zil zavanli arba meyadani chamra. Go buy for me 400 barrels of wine. Azul zavanli, he went and bought 400 barrels of wine. L'sleif asel kamei. And Amalei zvinilcha arba meyadani chamra. I bought for you 400 barrels of wine. The tchifulu. And it became chaymitz, it became vinegar. Not a very good shliach, right? And it became vinegar. Asla kamei the Rav, he came in front of Rava. Amalei arba meya dani charma tekifa kalis lahu limilsa. You have 400 barrels of wine. It's a lot of wine, and it all goes bad. There's a coil. Zil isi raya de meikara kimizavnesul charma ma'al yahave. Go bring a raya. Then when you bought it, it was what? It was good wine. The iftar, and I'll get you off the hook. Amalei Rabbi Yosef. Read the command ki'isi because you're telling him that he has to bring a proof. We won't let him be believed. You can't swear the fact that he bought the wine. I'm layin ki'isi. You swear like a say. So even you see a case of mekel chumemka will hold like isi, not limited to the pasha of Shaiman. Iskin Rav Chia bar Yosef b'Sikra. He made the following takona in Sikra. Hani didori be'igra ve'itfar. Now Rashi brings that this is a yoke. It's a yoke that's carried by one person. And you don't need two people to schlep, but it's too much for one. You don't need two people to schlep, but it's too much for one. So he went ahead and he took it. It was too heavy and it broke. So he said, Nishalim Palga, you're going to pay half. My timer, Nafish Lechad, it's too much for one. So guys, you were Paisheya in the fact that you did it in the first place. However, Vizutra Litre, on the other hand, it's too less that you had to call another person. So it's kind of a quasi state. So therefore, Karav La'onis, you Karav La'onis, why? Because again, it's you need less than two people, but it's right for Karav L'Pshia that you undertook it for yourself. B'digla, however, digla is a different type of yoke. It's for two people, it's schlepping two people, Mishalim Kula. Then if you undertake it, because then you pay the whole thing because you're a total Pesheya because you need two people. Rabbi Rav Chana Tovule Hanu Shekule Chavista de Chamra. He went ahead and it was broken for him these Shakule, these Savlim, the people who schlep. They went ahead and they broke his wine. And Rabbi, what did he do? So Rabbi Rav Chana took their shirts as a payment. Also, the workers came. V'amru l'Rav. They told Rav that Rav Chana bar Chana took their shirts. So Amalei, so Rav told to Rav Chana, Havli Glimayu, give him back their shirts. So Amalei, Rav Chana said, Dina Hachi, is that the din? In other words, that they're potter. Amalei in. That's the din. Why? L'mantelech b'derech toivim. That you should go what? The derech toivim, you should go l'fnei b'shur sadin. In other words, really, you don't have to give back the shirts, but you should give back the shirts. So Yovav Glumayu gave him back the shirts. Amulei, the workers told Rav, Aniye Anan, we are Aniyim. V'tarchinon kuliyuma, we work the whole day. V'kafinon, and we're starving. V'leslan midi, we don't want to eat. So Amalei, so Rav told Rabbi Rachana, Zil havigrayu, go give him their wages. So I don't know. You went from not only collecting, you went to paying. Right. So Amalei, so Rabbi Chana, Zadina Hachi, is that the din? Amalei in Shnemar, the Archas Sadikim Tishma. This is the pasuk. Mantelech b'derech toivim, v'orchas tzadikim tishmar, that there's a very famous pasuk in Mishlei Perik Beis that to go in the way of the righteous is v'orchas tzadikim tishmar. So I heard a beautiful pshat, guys. This is a beautiful pshat. The Gra and Mishlei on this pasuk. Why do we switch? Initially, he tells him he took the shirt. And he comes. They didn't know this. So Rabbi Chana didn't want to. He wanted to collect. These guys were guilty. Rav said, "Pay them up." Why? And then he pay them back the shirts. And then he says, and they complain. And he says, "Forget about the shirt. You got to pay them also." And he goes, and then he says, "Varchas Sadikim Tishmar." Why did two psukim? What's the switch over here? So listen to the Gra and Mishlei. He says an unbelievable thing. He says that a person could go in the name of Shur Sadin. You could do two things. You could let the person off the hook. You can be mevata. And then there's a Hayim Madrega. Then there's the tzaddik. The tzaddik is only mevata. The tzaddik does the right thing. He doesn't live name of Shur Sadin. He gives even more. Says the Gra, and only the Gra could say this. He says that derech is mashma, a very big place. Orchos is a pit, is smaller. Derech is larger. Orchos is smaller. Many people can go ahead and be mavata, but it takes a real tzaddik, because that's the word derech. But orchos, in that way, that only a tzaddik can go. And therefore, you're going to go one step more. What are you going to do? You're going to go ahead, Rod, and pay him. So this is the famous Shur Sadin, two things. First, you be mavata on the chayiv that they owe you. And the Satan's going to be the tzaddik. What are you going to do? You're going to pay them. So that's why the pasuk is broken up. Mantelech b'derech toivim b'derech. A lot of people can be mevata. Good, you're derech. But orchas tzaddikim, the tzaddik is orchas. He goes in the way, and therefore you pay them.
Rabbi, is this the sefer Orchos Tzadikim is from his pasuk?
Tzadikim, yes. You'll look. This sefer Orchos Tzadikim is a man who learns Hachsek and listens to a very famous Maggid Shir by the name of
Simcha.
Yeah, Simcha is doing Orchos Tzadikim. That says Matelach there Orchos Tzadikim Tishmar. There's the ways of Tzadikim. Okay, so what happened? Your Oscar right now. You finished. Goodbye. That's it.
He's getting a Snapple. Going on. I think this story happened.
Rabbi, that was for you.
This story happened in
You
New
don't
York.
have to make us see him. Finished.
Kenny?
Okay. Anyway, the next parak is famous for some of the most famous Agarat and Shas, and we'll begin tonight. Very, very exciting. Baruch Hashem.
That's a Hebrew one. You know Hebrew?
Okay, we saw earlier Asach Es Umanim.
Couldn't bring you two at the same time.
It's a union thing.
It's a union.
We said the first taisvis in the previous parak, guys. On Umin can be Saya Schir Yom and Saya Kablan. A Schir Yom is a person who's hired for the day. A Kablan is hired for the job. But the word Poyalim is only for a day worker. So therefore, the previous parak Asach Es Umanim dealt not only with Poyalim, it also dealt with Kablanim. This parak is dealing with what? Schir Yom. And therefore, Asach Es Poyalim, it's dealing with Schir Yom. So Asach Es Poyalim, V'amalahem, and you say to them, listen, Lahashkim, get up early, Ulaharav, and stay late. Makim Shnagu, Shleila Hashkim, Shleila Arav, and Shleila Kaifan. If the place is a place where you're not knowing to start early or stay late, you can't go ahead and force them. It says the Taisvis, there's only Taisvis on the page. Pirish, Ri, Bishasachman Stama. We're speaking about where you hire them, just Stam. But Amalahem, Achash, Skiram, and after you hire them, you said Kavar, Lahashkim Laharav. If you hired them already, you said that okay, you wanted to make them get up early and stay late. Avalm Hisname Kara Kalafi Tanoi. In other words, if you made it tonight initially, that was in your contract. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about where there was no specific clause in the contract exactly when, and now you decide after they were hired, you decide this is the story. You'll decide this is the when. Okay, so now, in a place where you feed them, you feed them. The sapek mesika, you have to give them a little what? Lift on a little, you have to give them episode dip. Then you ask, I call Medina, everything's the minimum Medina. Maisa Rabbi Yochanan and Metzia, Shama Lebenoi, say Sachalon Poilim, go hire for us workers. Halachu Pasak Lehem Mizainis. He went ahead and he promised them Mizainis. Ukesheba, it's a love if Amalei Bini. I feel him to Iselhem's Kesuda Shlem Kashaitai. Even make like Suda say the lashon of Shlomo Kishaita in his time. Shlomo Melech was thrown in Gemara at the end of Gittin. Like Ashmedai came in and got rid of him, right? So he had a time where he was a Melech and a time when he was a head yet. Maybe he recognized Shlomo when he came back. Is this ringing a bell? Right? Hello?
Yeah.
No? Yes, Ashmedai threw him out, and then so therefore the lashon Shlomo Kishaita, Shlomo when he was the king, Kishaita when he was the king, not when he was a head yet. So you're going to make and he gave this huge right. Shehem b'nei Avram Yitzchak Yaakov, and Avram even gave bigger sudish than Shlomo, and that's we're going to get into the sugya of Achnasas Orchim, right? Ella, so therefore, basically, you didn't do a toifa. You promised them a meal, whatever you're going to promise them. You know, if you give them peanut butter and jelly, they're going to want filet mignon. So Ella was so. Ella shlei yischilu b'malach. If they didn't begin working yet, save amalem. Go tell them aminash ein lechem alai ela pas v'kidnias b'vad. You will give you a little pass. It's not Pesach time. They're not svardim. So kidnias, little legumes, right? You didn't have to say anything. Everything would go according to the Minig Medina regarding what you have to provide for the workers.
They changing the term that they hired them?
I'm just getting. You have to wait, though.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'll come back tomorrow.
Don't be sorry, just don't. Back to Metzia because of the statute, you know, like you should have been the clear to give them, you know, big.
No, nothing to do with him. It's to do with that. Comes to business. This is a business hash.
Well, I'm saying.
No, he's not mechuyev. No, he's not mechuyev anything. It's not mechuyev. It's not mechuyev anything. Yes.
He's changing the terms after he hired them?
What? Yes. He wants what? This? No. He did. If they didn't begin working, it didn't come into effect yet. That's why.
He's
What?
not changing, he's defining.
What?
He's not giving you.
Yeah. No. I'm saying that his son made terms, right? His son made terms, right? This is the next step. His son made terms, right? So he goes, those terms are contingent upon beginning. So he changed the terms before they began.
From 39th Street all the way to his farm.
Again, it's clearly that before they began, again, it doesn't say anything about 39th Street here whatsoever. And again, and I'll go out on a limb and say it doesn't say any mefarshim either. No duchzech, right? Now it says pshita, right? Rashi says what? Duchzech. Okay. Anyway, it says. Rashi says the ain't el dvorim ain't mehem mamish. There was no mechusar amona. There was no kinyan or anything. If they began, you weren't able to have charata. I think that's what I said. It says in pshita. Okay, so now it's pashit that what that you can't tell them to do what it's not to do. Well, what's the says in tzricha the tafule agrayu. So he gave him a little extra. In other words, these guys are being well paid. So Ma'adatema Amalu, he could say, "Hi, the tafoiluchu agrayu." That I added on a little bit to your wages. Adaitu the mekadmisu machshachisu hadoi. That you go ahead and come early and stay later. Kamash malon the amule. Hi, the toughest one. That you went ahead and gave us a little bit extra. Adaitu davin l'chavi. The shepirta will do a better job. Will do a better job. Reish Lakish. Says Reish Lakish. Poil b'chnisasle mishaloi b'yitziasle mishal ba'alabayis. A poil is cheyoim, b'chnisasai, when he comes and enters the city to go back home, he should be mevata mishaloi, right? And he should stay a little later, and then he should stay a little later. Ach b'yitziyasai, when he leaves his house, mishal balabayis, then what? He should begin only after Netzachama. Again, this is you want to daven vasikin. So in the poil, b'chnisasai mishaloi, he should be mevata on himself, stay a little later. But in the morning, the Balabayis should be mevata in order that the pearl should daven vasikin. Shenemar tizrach hashemesh yeyosefun, right? And the el ma'unosam yerbatzain. Pasuk literally the chayis in the dark. They go into their caves because they're scared of people, right? Vel ma'unosam yerbatzain, and that time yetzei adam lepoloi. That's the time where people go to work. Ulavedasei adei orev. V'lichzei hechi nehigi. Fred the Gemara, right, on Reish Lakish. This man of Knisa Yitzia should not depend on the poilim, it should depend on the minig of the makom. Says the Gemara, it's speaking Be'er Chadash. It's speaking a new city, which does not have an established minig. Right? Gemara, so if you don't have a minig where they are, let's get a minig where they come from. So if they're used to going, not staying later earlier, so why do you make this karpan statement? It says the Gemara, we're speaking about what? New city, so there was no minig amakim, and we're speaking about a bunch of different type of people. Some from Guatemala, some from Ecuador, some from Puerto Rico. You have a bunch of people from different places which have different minhagim, so you don't have a set minhag of where exactly they came from. Good swimmers, right? Ibay Sema, or else the Amalahu, the Agrisalu Kepoil the Araisa. They were I hired you like a poil the Araisa, according to what the Torah says by Gabi Yitziu Kedis of the poil, and there on that tonight, then you could we say that. The earlier it goes to the coming later it goes to the balabas, that the balabas gets the upper hand, and getting up to work the poil gets the upper hand.
Why did they rise?
What? It's I guess the Kabbalah. Anyway, Darish Reb Zera, the Amrulay Tani Reb Yosef, my dechsiv Tashes Chayshech v'Hilayla Boy Timers Kol Chaseyar. What does that mean? Tashes Chayshech v'Hilayla Zel Olam Hazer. This is metaphorically. This refers to this world. Shadaim Laila. Compared to the next world, this is nighttime. Boy Timers Kol Chaseyar, the chayas of the yar. Who are the chayas of the forest? Elu Rishayim Shabai. These are the Rishayim in this world. Shadaim L'chayas Shabayar. They're similar to the chayas of the world. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu leaves them in this world to go lahalach Rishayim, and therefore Tizach Hashem Sheyaseifon Velmeosin Yebatzon. A person goes out to his avodah. Tizach Hashem means in this world it's tzaddikim. And Yesef and Hashem Gehenim, where the Rishayim gathered up in Gehenim. Vel Ma'inosim Yebatzim, the Tzadikim, Shein Lecha Kol Tzadik V'Tzadik, Shein Lecha Madlefik Voidai. Vel Ma'inosim Yebatzim, they gathered into their own Ma'una, their own dens, that each Tzadik will get his own Chelik in Olam Haba. That's why I once heard, I think from Michtav Eliyahu, why every person's life is different with different Nisyonis is that each person should have the unique place in Olam Haba. So since you went through uniquely different lives, each person's going to have a uniquely different place. That's what this is saying over here. That that each one is going to have shein model if each person according to their covenant will have their abode. That's when the zurich of the shemesh in olam haba. The tzaddikim go out to get their schar. Ulvaydasi adi orev b'misha hishnum avaydasei. The tzaddik was mushlim in all mitzvahs adi orev until the day of his death. That's the metaphorical shot in the pasuk. Okay, now we get to meet Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon. Now it's very geschmack. Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon, who was Reb Shimon? There's Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. So this is the very famous Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon, and this Gemara is a little troubling. It's a little troubling, and we'll deal with the halachic aspect of this Gemara. Be'ez Hashem. I printed out something I sent out. Okay, we'll see what it is. Okay, Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon Ashkelahu, he found this Bahar Gavna. He found this Bahar Gavna. This was a policeman. This guy was in charge of chapping the robbers. So the Kotofis Ganvi, that was his job. So Amalei Rabbi Elazar told him, Heichi Yechalt Lahu, how are you able to go ahead and be successful? Lav Kechevasa Misilei, are they not compared to Chayas, who hide? They hide during the day. I mean, how do you chap Ganovim? Dichsev Boy Timash Kol Chaseyar. So Ikadi Ami, that Rabbi Elazar said to him, Mehai Krok Amalei, from this pasuk, Ye'erov b'mistar ka'aryeh b'sukai. So they're like the lion in its thicket. The bottom line is, how can you get them? You can be typhus a person, maybe he's innocent. Maybe he's innocent. Maybe you can get a person who's innocent. Yeah, and in Russia, you're going to leave. So how do you go ahead, Wad? How do we go ahead and accomplish this, right? How do we go ahead, Wad, and accomplish this? So Amalei, so the Shaitu told Rabbi Elazar, Umaya Avid, what can I do? Harmona de Malkahu. The Melech goes ahead and he says, I got to chap him. And I guess it's like the ticket lady, right? They got to come in with a certain amount of tickets, a quota, and he's got to chap them. So Amalei Rabbi Elazar told him, listen, hey, Agmarcha Hechitavid. I'm an expert chapper. I'm an expert chapper. Listen to me, you listen to me, and I'll tell you how to chap these guys. What should you do? The first 4 hours of the day in the morning, go to the chanus where they eat and they drink a little bit. You see a guy who's drinking wine. The kadnokit kosa biyade v'kaminamnein. He's holding the cup in his hand, and he's drifting off, right? So Shaol Alave, he asked about this guy. Eat some rabbanon who, if he's a Talmud Chacham, V'nayim, right? The Aknamei Mekadim Magirse. The reason he's tired is because he stayed up the whole night learning. Payal, if he's a Skayim who, right? The Kadam Ka'avid Avidate. He got up really early to learn. So no, it could be that's why he's tired. So you're asking about the person's, but the Avidate Belaila, and if he works at night, Redude Radid. It's a person who goes ahead, Rashi, a long Rashi about that people make threads of iron. He's this iron worker, but it seems they made threads and they make a lot of noise. The lawyer, and he's not any of these three things, then Mat Ganvahu. He's a ganif, V'tav, so you can grab him. So in other words, I'm a professional detective. I can tell you who is the chapa, and I can get him. Anyway, Yishtam and Milsik Beimalka, the Melech heard that this person is giving great advice. So he figured, why triangulate? Why triangulate? Guess what? Amru, the Sar Melech said, Karaina de Garta, Iulahabi Barvanka. The person, right, who sent the letter, he should be what? The one that's the job. In other words, Rebbe Lazar of Shimon's got a new job. Right? He's the guy. So I saw Rebbe Lazar Rebbe Shimon, the Katafis Gabe Ganvev Azel. And Rebbe Lazar got a new job, and he was copying Ganovim all over. Now, the problem is, these Ganovim were not put, they weren't, Al Bragg, what's the guy's name? Bragg. Alvin Bragg. They weren't out the next day. As a matter of fact, they weren't out in a year. As a matter of fact, they never got out. No, they were killed. They were killed. That's like the Alta Haim. Right. So they were killed. So basically, Rabbi Lazar Shimon is doing is taking Jews, Ganovim, and what? And killing them, which is the halachic problem, which we're going to discuss. Right? It's a problem. So now, yeah, these were Jews. So Shalach le Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha. Listen, you'll see the Gemara. Meir. Chaimitz ben Yayin. He called him Chaimitz vinegar, the son of wine. You have Rabbi Lazar of vinegar, the son of Rav Shimon of wine, right? That why you're a Russia, the son of a tzaddik. Ad masiyat moisa amoy shel elokenu lahariga. How long will you go ahead and give over what the amanifcha for ariga? Shalach le Rabbi Lazar sent to Rabbi Shua ben Karcha, right? That he's not being going. I'm cleaning up Hashem's kerem, Hashem's world. I'm cleaning him up by getting rid of the kites and the thorns. Shalach le Rabbi Shua ben Karcha said back to him, Yavai bala kerem. Let HaKadosh Baruch Hu come along. He'll take care of it. He doesn't need you. Hashem takes care. He puts people in helicopters. He has a way of going ahead and taking care of business, right? Hashem doesn't need your help. Yumachad Pagaber Rabbi Lazar hu kaivis. He met this launderer, the Karya Chaimitz ben Yayin, and this launderer called Rabbi Lazar Chaimitz ben Yayin because again he didn't have a very popular job, as you can imagine, and he called him Chaimitz ben Yayin. So Amar midachasiv kulahai. He's such a chutzif. Shma mino who you're a rush. Tafsua and Rabbi Lazar calmed down. Labasa denoyach daite. You got a little clear of mind. Azal Basrei, he went to prison to get him out. Lifroka, Matzi. And guess what? It was too late. Forget about bail. The guy was gone. He was hung. He was gone. So v'lei Matzi Kari Rabbi Lazar Aleya Shoyme Piv l'Shoyne Shoyme Mitzaras Nafshe. A person watches his mouth, he'll be safe from something. This guy's mouth, the mechutza, will call me Chaimitz ben Yayin. Anyway, so Kfua, they went ahead and they hung this guy. Come Rabbi Lazar Tute Sekifa, he stood underneath him, the Kabachi, and he was crying. Amalei, Rabbi Lazar, Rebbe. They told him, don't cry. Al Yerbein Echad. This guy, Shahu B'nai, Balu Nairis Murasais B'Yom Kippurim. These guys, him and his father were boiling iron Murasa on Yom Kippur. Nishkan Gutazach. In other words, the guy got off the hook. He was only hung. He really believed skila. I saw a pshat. The Rabbi said that even though Bezdin is bottled, the Arba Mises Bezdin are not bottled. So a person who's mechuyev chenik will get hung person who's mechuyev skila will fall off a cliff, or, a person who's chayiv sreifa will burn. So over here, the chayiv skila. So why do you end up hung? So he goes, it doesn't mean that it means he'll die. It doesn't mean he'll always get but it means he's dead. If I can't get him this way, I'll get him that way. So haniach yadai al bnei meyav. He put his hands on his intestines. V'yama sisu bnei meyai sisu. In other words, after I was masupik, but I did the right thing. So now he's like saying my gut did the right thing. Umas sveika shalachem. We weren't sure. Kach vade shalachem. So alachas kama v'kama muftach ani bachem shein rima v'tlas shaletis bachem. So in other words, he said that I can be assured that I'm such a tzaddik that if madness this happens to the suffix, look what's certain the vadai when I'm getting off the hook in this job. I'm getting off the hook in this job. Anyway, Vafilu Hachi, nonetheless, let me see out of daita. He wasn't sure that he did the right thing. So he came up with a test. He wanted to make sure that he was squeaky clean. And listen what he did. Ashkuhu Sama Deshinta. This is fascinating, fellas. This is fascinating. Lenny, you're gonna love this. He gave him a potion to put him to sleep, an anesthesia. Va'ailuhu lebesa deshisha, and he took him to a marble house. That was their operating theater, a marble house. And they took Rabbi Elazar B'Shimon to a marble house. The kara lekrese, they ripped open his stomach. There's no wind, right? Because of Harvey Molitava Rokov, right? The kara lekarse, they ripped open his stomach. The kamafik minei dikule tarba. He happened to be a very corpulent young man, and they took out buckets and buckets of fat, liposuction, right? No. I'm always amazed at when you see the Gemara. We saw in Ksubis, we saw brain surgery. We saw brain surgery. They took parasites out of the head. They were able to open the skull and open the skull. It's fascinating. It really is. I mean, they had to say for refuahs. We saw that. They had to say for refuahs, right? And it was hidden, but some people, a lot of things weren't. And you can cure anything.
Success rate was drained.
Anyway, so they took out a bunch of fat and moisei b'shimsha, and they put it out in the sun, b'tamuz, in the heat, v'ov. They wanted to see if it's going to go ahead, what? And it didn't go ahead and get putrefied. So they figured that he sees that what? His testis, he's a tzaddik. Says the Gemara, what's the big deal? Kol tarbanamulei suricha. It seems that it seems all bali chayim it doesn't spoil. It says the kol tarbanamulei suricha, but sharuke sumke masriach. It seems there are red strips that go through the fat that does putrefy, and hacha, but the fat of Reb Shimon ben Elazar. Afal gav the ika saraika sumke. You have these red strips. Loy masriach. It wasn't masriach. Hariya nafshe af bisari yishkoin levetach. Even after bisari, even my basa will lie levetach. After I die, will lie betach. In other words, it's a simon of shleimus. Okay, so we just spend a little time. What's the story with? How was he able to give it over? In other words, so I sent out on a Rambam. I sent out a piece. Does anyone not have it? What? If you could send it out. Okay, guys, this is the bottom of a ritva. This is how goes in the bottom of a ritva. You see what it says number 15? Guys, you see it? Number 15? I didn't get, no one's talking to me.
Yeah.
Yes, you see 15? You have, I know you have it. I gave it to you. You have it?
Then we send it, we get back to going to. I can't find that. I do it on the.
Harambam, the Perikimel Mehilchas Malachim Halacha Yud, V'zel Shainai. Kol HaHorig Nefashos, Shaloi Beria Berura, anyone who kills someone and without anyone clearly seeing that he killed a person, Oy B'la Asura, you saw him kill, but you didn't warn him. Afilu Be'ed Echad, even if there's only one aid. Oy Soine Shaharig B'Shkaga, or a Soine who killed, quote unquote, let's about B'Shogeg, someone who hates somebody and killed B'Shogeg, right? Yesh L'Melech, my foot slipped off the gas. Yesh L'Melech Rishus L'Hargai. The Melech has Rishus to kill him. Will attacking the oilam and to fix the world. Kefi Masha Shat Sricha, whatever is necessary at the time. If at the time a time of chaos, anarchy, and things are very rough. The king can decide, I'm going to go ahead and teach them a little bolak. I'm going to teach them the story. And even though you don't have the protocol of Shnei Edim with Hasra, you're able to go ahead and kill. You're able to go ahead and kill. Okay. You can even kill many on one day. And even though you're not supposed to keep it hanging for a long while, you can keep it up for a long while. Go ahead and place fear on the people. So much for conditional love, right? Mamish, this is says the Rambam. The king has this power. All these murderers, in Ratzah Melech Yisrael Hargim B'din HaMalchus V'Takanas HaOlam HaRishus B'Yadai. He has that power. V'Agedahu K'moshe Kosta Bar Sameach, like the Or Sameach writes, and V'chein Hu B'Shaylas Chuvas Hechel Yishein Chelik Aleph. The Din Malchus Havi Kein Bezdin. That the Malchus is sort of like Bezdin. Ubezdin Isa B'Gemara Sanhedrin Ma'Mav Mit Aleph. Tanya Rebbe Elazar ben Yaakov Omer Shamati sheBezdin Makin v'Oinshin Shaloi Min HaTorah. I heard that Bezdin could go ahead give Maka and Oinish Shaloi Min HaTorah v'Loi Laval Devei Torah El Kedei Lasa Sayog LeTorah, make a Sayog LeTorah. Umaisa be'echad sherochav al sus b'Shabbos. He was running on a shus b'Shabbos, a horse. B'mei Yevonim ve'veyu leBezdin, and this is v'Sakluhu, and they stoned him. Right, the mice needed. Shuv mice about the mechad shetiachas ishtei tachas. Taina was with his wife underneath the tree. They gave him malchus. Loim ifnei shroy lekach. El shashot tzrich lekach. The Chaim Pirush and Rambam Perek Chavdal Milchas Sanhedrin Halacha Daled v'Hoisef b'Seif HaDibur u'Maisa b'Tola Shim ben Shetach Shmoina Noshim b'Yimechad. These witches he killed 80 in one day ba'Ashkelon v'Lehoya Shom Kol Darchei Adrisha v'Chakira v'Asra. In other words, he never had the protocol of all capital punishment. V'Leiba Eidos Brura Elohira Shak v'Mashara. In other words, therefore you can do it. This is what the Rambam says, and we want to apply it over here. The concept over here, that if the Shah was the kaf of the people, if there was so many ganovim, so many people stealing, so many things going through, back and forth, all these things, that the time required Vada. I heard, again, I'm trying, don't quote me on this, but I if I remember correctly, I heard this, you're going back to 1983. So it's 41 years ago. I was taking a teacher's training course, and the person who was teaching us, he was teaching us, I forgot which subject. I think he was teaching us weird subjects. His name was Goldworm. Zeichet Tzadik Levracha. He was the first editor of Art Scroll. He was a Hasidic guy. He'd sit there with his talus over here like this. He knew Kol Torah Kula. You just asked him anything. It was amazing to see. Hirsch Goldworm. He was Nifta, a very, very young man. You look in the original edition of any art scroll, he was the editor. He told us, I remember, that the Noidib Yehuda, you're talking about the 17th century, there was a Ganef, he cut off his hand. The Ganef, Bezdin has the way, he was a Ganef, he cut off his hand. Cut off his hand. That there's a koyach. In other words, there is Bezdin, and he says the king has that power in Bezdin. Now, there are chulukei deis that goes on over here. Maybe it's only by Reitzkim, but we want to say it's not by Reitzkim, because we want to use it for this Gemara, and that's the way they upslug him. They upslug the person that Avnei Nesa says that speaking only by Reitzkim. We see from my Gemara, it's not only Reitzkim, because these were Ganovim. So again, if the Shah calls for it, you're able to go ahead and a unique power, but you're able to go ahead and do.
So was able to kill out the
No.